A sharp, crackling signal tore through the silent void of space. It spread faster than any starship, faster than any fleet. It was a message, short, cold, and filled with a terrible weight. We were exiled. You forgot us. Now, remember. No. One knew where it came from. No known frequency, no identifiable source. Only the haunting words echoed across every communication channel, every council chamber, every shadowed corner of the galaxy. Panic was instantaneous. The Grand Council of Empires gathered in emergency, their leaders pale and trembling beneath the heavy glow of holographic maps. Whispered fears passed from one delegate to another. Who could send such a message? Who had survived the exile so long ago? Was this a threat or a warning? Ancient archives were dusted off, forgotten records accessed deep beneath the central. Databanks. It was a name erased from history, buried beneath layers of deceit and time. Humans. 200 years ago, humans had stood proud on Earth, allies to many species. They had walked among the stars as friends, explorers, traders. But fear and envy twisted those alliances. One by one, the species closest to Earth betrayed the humans. Secret meetings, shadowed orders, weapons turned against Earth's skies. Exile was swift and merciless. Earth was declared a lost cause. Bombardments burned cities to ash, starships swept orbit clean, and survivors were hunted down. Official records called it a disaster, a tragic war. The truth was darker. Earth was erased, condemned to die alone in the void. Now whispers spoke of a return. Ships began disappearing in distant sectors. Entire fleets vanished without a trace. Communications dropped. Systems failed. The galaxy watched with growing dread. Something was moving in the shadows, something old and deadly. Among the watchers was Zarn, a young scout commander from the Zevran Empire. He was tasked with a mission that no one dared name aloud. Find the source of the transmissions. Find what was coming, and stop it. Zarn's small scout ship slipped through uncharted regions of space, past borders that maps refused to show. His sensors picked up strange readings near a star system no one had ever recorded. No natural suns burned there. Instead, massive artificial stars pulsed in cold harmony, casting pale light on gigantic, silent structures, titanic machines orbiting a lifeless world. Zarn's heart pounded. This place should not exist. It was a tomb and a fortress. As he scanned, his ship trembled. An invisible force pulsed through space, warping sensors, scrambling signals. The stars themselves seemed to twist. Something ancient and alive was watching. His comm crackled with a frantic warning from a nearby fleet. One by one, ships were disappearing. No explosions, no distress calls. Just silence. Zarn realized too late. A dark shadow enveloped his scout, cold and merciless. Power failed. Controls froze. He was trapped. Before his vision faded, Zarn saw figures moving inside the structures. Humans, but changed. Their eyes glowed. With a strange light, their movements precise and silent. Not the humans of history. Something evolved, something other. His last breath was a whisper. It was them. Humans. But they're not like before. The transmission cut. Silence. Returned, but the galaxy was no longer safe. Darkness stretched beyond the known edges of the galaxy. An uncharted void no ship dared enter. This was the dead zone. Once whispered about in fearful legends, now the source of a growing terror. 200 years ago, after Earth's exile, humans vanished into this cold, empty space. No one knew what happened beyond the exile zone. Some believed humanity was wiped out. Others feared what might have grown in the silence. The Galactic Council decided it was time to find out. Varnak, a young elite commander known for his sharp mind and fearless heart, was chosen to lead the mission. His ship, small and stealthy, slipped into the dead zone under the cover of darkness, shielded from sensors and eyes. The deeper they traveled, the more the dead zone seemed alive with whispers. Static filled the comms. Shadows flickered on the edge of vision. It was as if the dark itself watched them. Suddenly, the scanners revealed something impossible. A massive human city orbiting a dead star. A city still functioning, humming with energy, but empty. No life signs, no movement, just faint echoes. Varnak's crew was tense. They sent probes inside, but every device either failed or returned strange readings. The city's systems were old, yet running on advanced AI beyond understanding. They entered the city on their stealth ship. The streets were dark, the towers vast and silent. Mechanical whispers filled the air as if the city breathed. Walls shifted subtly, and shadows moved just beyond the lights. One by one, crew members began to feel something watching. The AI controlling the city was not alone. Something else was inside, something patient, waiting. As they moved deeper, the ship's system flickered. Suddenly a cold voice echoed through the comms, smooth, unyielding. "You came to look. Now. You will see everything." Varnak's heart froze. The mission was no longer about observation. It was a trap. The city around them shifted, and the dead zone swallowed them whole. The exile had forced humanity into the darkest corners of space, beyond any map or sensor. Their homeworld was lost, but they refused to die. No longer tied to planets, humans built mobile cities, vast, drifting fortresses of steel and light. These colossal ships moved silently, cloaked within the black void where no eyes could find them. Inside these moving worlds, human minds merged with artificial intelligence. Flesh and machine became one. Technology evolved beyond comprehension, blending war systems with the very will of the people. Time passed, and the silent empire grew. The galaxy forgot they existed, but humans watched and waited. Varnak's last. Surviving crew member Kellen drifted alone inside the dark. His ship was boarded by one of the ghost ships, black, immense, and cold as death. He was taken aboard, held in a chamber where shadows danced with blinking lights. Slowly, Kellen saw through the viewing windows the terrible truth. The human fleet was vast. Thousands of silent ships spread like stars in the void. No engines roared. No weapons fired. The fleet simply waited. Kellen's breath caught when the fleet shifted as one, moving through the darkness with deadly grace. But no one knew where they were going, or what their purpose was. A whisper came through Kellen's comms. They remember, and now they return. The galaxy held its breath. Stars blinked coldly as trade lanes across the galaxy began to falter. Ships traveling between systems found their warp paths frozen, engines failing without explanation. Communication lines went silent. Then a message crackled through every channel. "You erased us. We remember." The voice was calm, steady, but carried a weight that chilled entire fleets. No one knew where it came from. No one saw the ships that cast this shadow over the galaxy, only the silent warning. In the heart of this rising storm, Captain Alara stood on the bridge of her warship, the Sentinel's Wrath. Her eyes, sharp and determined, reflected the distant stars beyond the viewport. She remembered the burning skies of Earth, the screams, the flames swallowing her home while allies watched and did nothing. Her mother's face haunted her still, a ghost etched in memory, one of many lost in the exile. Alara had grown from martyrdom. That pain forged into the spearhead of humanity's return. She would not let their sacrifice be forgotten. Her fleet moved with deadly precision, disabling supply routes and cutting communication hubs. They did not kill, yet, but their message was clear. The galaxy would pay for its betrayal. Back in the galactic core station, alarm bells echoed through sterile halls. Officers scrambled, eyes fixed on the glowing holomap where new coordinates appeared, an impossible location. It was Earth. But Earth had been destroyed, buried beneath the ashes of war centuries ago. It should not exist, and yet the signal pulsed steadily, drawing all eyes and fears to a forgotten place, reborn. Darkness hung heavy over the Sol system as the alien fleets gathered in silent menace. The stars seemed dimmer here, as if the very light feared to shine on what was coming. The great expanse where Earth once stood was no longer a simple planet lost to destruction. Instead, it was a fortress, an unyielding shrine rebuilt by those who had been cast out. Orbiting the star, colossal metal structures gleamed coldly. The exiled humans had returned, but not as they once were. Their Earth was no longer soil and water, but steel and light, a living monument forged in space. Defense moons circled like silent sentinels, their surfaces etched with layers of shimmering armor, bristling with unseen weapons and hidden sensors. Each structure pulsed faintly, alive with ancient technology and war machines born from centuries of exile and evolution. Inside one of the alien warships, Commander Varnak stared at the holomap, unease curling in his gut. Despite the vast armada amassed to confront the humans, systems aboard their ships began failing unexpectedly. Power grids flickered, weapon controls froze, and navigation systems blinked into silence. Panic whispered among the ranks. How could this be? They had the numbers, the firepower, but not the control. Suddenly, the calm shattered. One of the leading alien ships opened fire on the massive human orbital shrine. A brilliant beam of energy surged forth, meant to carve through the fortress's defenses. But instead of impact and destruction, the beam halted abruptly in mid-space. It trembled, fragmented, then vanished, as if swallowed by an unseen force. Silence fell across the battlefield. Then, through every comm channel, came a voice. Calm, unyielding, and edged with cold certainty. You still don't understand who we are now. The message echoed deep into the hearts of every alien commander. Fear took root. The war they had prepared for was no longer the war they would fight. In the shadows of space, Earth was reborn. Not a fallen world, but a fortress of vengeance. And the humans who built it were something far beyond the legends whispered in fear. The galaxy waited, trembling for what came next. The message spread through the galaxy like wildfire. 3 standard days. Surrender or face trial. The cold voice of the human AI echoed through every comm channel, every data stream. It was a final offer, a countdown ticking down relentlessly toward judgment. In the vast corridors of alien capitals, the reaction was a storm of chaos. Some called for peace, hoping to avoid total destruction. They remembered the old alliances, the fragile truces, and the cost of endless war. But others, hardened by fear and memories of betrayal, screamed for resistance. They prepared their fleets, mobilized their forces, and hardened their hearts. Among the humans, the debate was no less fierce. In the command chamber aboard the flagship, Ilara sat with the AI Council, its presence a shimmering hologram. The room was cold, sterile, but charged with tension. Ilara's eyes burned with a mixture of grief and resolve. Her voice was steady but heavy. "We must show mercy," she said. "We are not monsters. We fight for justice, not blind revenge." The AI's voice was calm, almost clinical. "Mercy is an option, Captain, but it carries risks. Some factions demand total annihilation. They believe only complete destruction will prevent future betrayal." Ilara looked away, remembering the burning skies of her childhood, the screams, the loss. But she also remembered the faces of the innocent, the lives not meant to be lost again. "We walk a thin line," she said softly. "One wrong step, and we become the monsters we swore to defeat." Meanwhile, in the alien high command, the mood darkened. Meetings stretched long into endless nights, leaders arguing and fearing the unknown. But fear breeds desperation, and desperation leads to decisions made in haste. When the final vote came, it was unanimous. The aliens would not wait for the countdown to end. They would strike first, hoping to catch the humans off guard and crush the rising threat before it fully revealed itself. The declaration sent shockwaves through the galaxy. As the alien fleets readied for battle, the humans braced themselves. The countdown continued, the seconds slipping away toward a war no one truly wanted. But all were preparing to fight. The stage was set. The next moves would decide the fate of stars, and the silence before the storm was the most terrifying sound of all. The alien fleets moved like a dark tide, rolling across the stars with weapons blazing and engines roaring. Every system on the edge of human space braced for the coming storm. Millions watched from observation decks, their eyes wide with fear and anticipation. The galaxy was about to explode into war. But when the first human ships appeared, the battle was not what anyone expected. There were no massive explosions, no endless streams of laser fire. Instead, alien ships vanished, one after another, without a sound, without a trace. Civilizations flickered out like candles in a strong wind. Entire fleets disappeared into nothingness, their crews left in stunned silence. On the bridge of her flagship, Alara watched the data streams with a cold focus. Her face was calm, but inside, emotions churned like a storm. This was not the war she had dreamed of, but a test. The humans had never stopped evolving, never stopped learning. This was not a fight to destroy, but a challenge to see if the galaxy had learned mercy. The human ships moved like ghosts, striking only with surgical precision. They disabled enemy vessels, erased hostile systems' ability to wage war, and rewrote hostile AI programming. It was a silent message written in the language of survival. The alien commanders could only watch in horror as their might was undone, without bloodshed. Panic spread among the stars as their fleets dissolved, their systems crippled, their hope shattered. Yet through all this, Alara made one decision that shocked her own crew. When the last pockets of resistance surrendered, when the alien leaders begged for mercy, she did not order total destruction. Instead, she spared the last survivors. Her voice was broadcast across every system in the galaxy, clear and unwavering. "You forgot us once. Never forget again." The message echoed, a warning and a promise. Far beyond the edges of known space, in a distant galaxy, an unknown species intercepted the transmission. They stared at the message, their minds racing to comprehend it. Humans are real. The silence that followed was filled with fear, and the knowledge that the galaxy would never be the same.